Welcome to season 2 of Chillin with Ice. I'm your host, Lori Fetrick, also known as Ice from the hit iconic show, American Gladiators. If you're new to the show, make sure you go back and listen to some of the funniest, jaw-dropping behind-the-scenes stories from some of the original American Gladiators. In season 2 of Chillin with Ice, you're going to hear some real one-on-one conversations with pop culture icons, athletes, and lifestyle gurus, and that's just to name a few. We will be covering everything from 90s classic, fitness, anti-aging, to recent trends, and so much more. This podcast is where legends live on. Welcome back to Chillin with Ice, and I'm very excited about my next guest. I actually met her at a New York Comic-Con.
Yes.
And she had a new book come out, and I was super excited to read it. I'd like to introduce Crystal Hefner. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So welcome. And your book, Only Say Good Things.
Yes.
Now, it's not out yet.
No, it comes out in January. So
Okay. But you have pre-sales.
I have pre-sales and advanced copies.
Nice.
And so, yeah, I sent
and I got an advanced copy. I'm so excited. Now, I just want everybody to know this. I'm not a huge reader, okay? I do read. I'm not a huge reader. But when you sent me your book, honestly, I read it in 2 days.
Wow.
I couldn't put it down. I kept waiting. I was like, okay, what's the next thing that's going to happen? It kept my interest. It was phenomenal. And I loved your book. I'll be honest.
Thank you.
Was super cool.
That means a lot.
What inspired you to write this thing?
Actually, a friend inspired me. So I'd left the mansion. It was weird. Like that whole experience was like a decade of my life. It was very weird. It was pre-Me Too and a lot of that stuff. So I left and took like a handful of years to just digest what had happened. And then I had a friend suggest that I should write a book and not let Hef control like the narrative, because he controlled it for so long and he was so particular about everything. But I think other perspectives are important from that time.
Of course. Of course.
Is that weird?
How long did it take you to write it?
2 years. So yeah, so I started on, I think it's been like 6 years since he died now. So I started it like around year 4. I started like writing notes and, after therapy and stuff, like writing. It's so weird.
You left the therapy part out of your book.
I know. So I've been in a lot of therapy since then, trying to figure it out. Because I started having a hard time like in dating relationships.
I can only imagine.
So I'm like, this is weird, because I was in this relationship with was like octogenarian but he was like 91
right.
By the time he passed away, and rewarded for being like codependent, and it was weird. And I don't know, it was so I was trying to unravel that and figure out who I am and try and have a healthy life.
Right.
It's like a cult, like a weird cult.
That's interesting that you say that. I actually interviewed a woman that I think she really was in a cult.
Really?
Yeah, and she kept denying it. And I was like, okay, so like your cult, why do you all wear white?
Yeah. It's interesting because it is like a cult, but then there's also that like cool like pop culture aspect to it, which I think like with your background, like there's that like really cool like pop culture like fun to it as well. So
it was
it's like
fun. It was definitely.
Yeah, so it's like there's good and bad to everything.
I was in a gladiator cult. You were in a Playboy cult.
I watched your documentary, and they referenced Playboy in there. Somebody did.
Okay, the reason they referenced it is because Zap, actually Ray Hollett, did an issue.
Okay.
Of Playboy.
Okay, because it was like in the very beginning, somebody was talking about putting the show together, and they were like something like meets Playboy, something in the very beginning. And then
that I missed. I don't even know what that is, but yeah, Zap.
And then
did
Zap
Playboy.
was in Playboy.
Yep, exactly. And then she got kind of banned off to the side because she did Playboy.
Oh my goodness!
Well, think about the time back then. I mean, we were like, what is that? Late '80s, and it was like, oh, that's a no-no. Kind of thing.
It's a no-no around then. Like
it was a no-no to be in Playboy, Penthouse, whatever, and it was a no-no for me to be gay. Everything was a no-no, and so therefore that was just the time.
Yeah.
And now we've evolved, obviously so much, and nobody just gives a shit about anything.
Yeah. I think Playboy was like cool in like the early 2000s or late 90s.
Something like that.
It was like 2008 when I was there initially. So it was cool then.
Yeah.
It was something that like was prestigious maybe.
Maybe, yeah. So
for me, like Mrs. Nobody.
So you wrote the book. You had to have a little therapy afterwards. And I mean, the beginning, the middle, the end, everything in your book was so just like, it was like I was on the edge just reading it and just going through it. And it did answer a lot of questions that I personally had, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to have the same questions because we're all just creatures of habit.
Yeah.
We have the stupid questions in our head, like, did they all sleep together? I mean, how and ludicrous is that? That's
I have answers. So it's like,
right?
Yeah, that's all in there, right? There's nothing.
Yeah, you do.
It's very honest.
How did you feel once you finished writing the book? Was it that purge of, oh my God, it's finally out?
I was a little scared. So I'm like, I talk about all kinds of stuff. Like,
tell me what you're afraid of, though. What people are going to think?
I guess putting my like very personal, private things out there.
Yeah.
I think the two main topics are like sex and death, and those have always been kind of hard topics for me. So, just putting that all out there. But I don't have anything to run or hide from, so put it all out there.
It's just like blah. There you go.
Yeah.
Now there was a clip that came to me that I actually saw, and we just talked about it for a moment, that Candace Owen actually did a clip, and I want to play part of it, and I want your response and your reaction if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome.
All right, Jeff, let's play it and see here.
Hear it.
Yeah, we got it.
Brace ourselves. Buckle up.
Buckle up.
And the thing that I take issue with is people recategorizing the decisions that they made because they were young and they were stupid and they were immature, but undoubtedly they were decisions that they made, and pretending that suddenly they're victims, right? She's not saying that she came from a trailer park. She's not saying that she didn't have any access. He didn't find her in a strip club. She's saying that she was 21 and she wanted to go to a cool party. We've all been there before. I've been very open with you guys about the amount of Red Bull vodka that I consumed from the ages of 18 to 23, probably ages 18 to 24, if I'm being honest. I've been very honest with you guys about me waiting outside of a line at One Oak and, wanting to dance on a bar and next door at the Electric Room until 3 a.m. in the morning while I was living in the city in my early 20 years. But I don't pretend to recast those decisions as, well, I was a victim when I was taken advantage of. Like, why did the bouncer let me in at 1 a.m. after I had consumed 8 Red Bull vodkas? He shouldn't have let me in. I really have an issue with women pretending that they're stupid, right? That they didn't do anything to contribute to where they ended up. Because I had these friends. There were some of us that wanted to go out and wanted to go to the bar and wanted to go to the club and wanted to party with our girlfriends and dance all night and then go back home. And then there were the girls that were looking for powerful men. I have these friends. I had a best friend who I lost because she became one of these girls. We went out to a bar, she met a rapper, and then she became a groupie for the next 10 years of her life, literally. I haven't spoken to the girl in 10 years, probably. I ran into her, and her life is horrible. She now works at the Four Seasons, checking people in, and she had so much potential, but she thought that she could exchange her sex and her youth for power, and it didn't work out for her. Well, in the circumstance of Crystal Hefner, it actually did work out for her. She exchanged her sex and her youth for power. This is a normal dynamic between men and women. Women think, oh, he's going to take care of me. He's powerful. I'll never have to want anything in my life. I don't have to do anything. And men think she's hot, she's sexy, she's young. And I'm sorry, that's how it works. It's an exchange. You made a deal. And you don't get to then revoke it after the fact. And that's a little bit what this feels like. And again, I'm not trying to judge her.
So what I have an issue with here is that she considered you were saying that you were a victim. I read your book. You did not say you were a victim. You didn't come across as a victim. You were just telling your story.
Yeah, I definitely think that she needs a copy of the book. And
yeah,
it's interesting to call me a victim, but it was interesting, everything she was saying.
Yeah,
she's like, oh, she wasn't in a trailer or she wasn't a stripper, so she's gonna be she could, like, if I was, then I could be a victim. Like, that was so weird.
Yeah, it was kind of a very, very strange thing, and it's like, And then the very beginning of the Candace Owen, it's it's so funny. It's like, I don't know Candace and now I know you, and I read the book and I'm a little protective and I'm like,
That's
she didn't
so
even say
sweet.
that.
That's
I'm
so
like, did she
sweet.
not read the book?
Yeah, I think she needs a copy because I'm definitely not a victim. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have a privileged life as you read, at one point, like I was just in a one bedroom with my mom in someone else's house. So to me, that was all exciting. It was powerful. It was enticing, exciting. And I was young and impressionable. And yeah, I'm sure I don't regret it, or I'm not trying to take it back or undo it. Like that was just my life. That's just the path I went down.
Exactly.
Like we all
Exactly. And you wrote a book about it. It's
Yeah.
like, I started thinking about when I was 20. And I'm sorry, but it's like, when you're 20, you're in a whole different mindset. You're still a baby. You're still young. And I'm not saying that, people would go, well, that's an excuse. Well, no, not really. There are so many things that so many 20-year-olds do that we look back and go, huh,
Yeah.
maybe I could have done that a little differently, or maybe I could have done this, differently. But when I read your book and you were like, okay, I went to the Halloween party and then I got the phone call. The one thing that I wanted to know is your reaction when you got the phone call.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was
I mean, I think I would have been jumping up and down.
Yeah, it was a voicemail. Like I had missed the call. I didn't recognize the number, and the voicemail was like, I don't know if he asked me to move in the voicemail, but it was something like, "This is Hugh Hefner," like in his.
Did you have to replay it again to make
like,
sure that this wasn't a
is
joke?
So weird. It all felt like a dream, and being so young, even more so.
Yeah.
And I remember calling back and said, "Yeah, of course I'll move in," and I as fast as I could before anyone changed their mind.
Right.
Because to me, this was just like, I was going to school for psychology. I had my own problems. I didn't know if I could be a psychologist. And I had this experience where I got to, see how the other half live.
Yeah.
It's like.
And that's something.
Yeah. Like when someone's at the top, like you think, oh, they're so rich and powerful and they must work really hard. Like once you get to the place Hef was, like you just get to chill. Like while everyone else kind of
is working like it's like the worker bees.
Yes. He just did what he wanted and, got to look at beautiful, sexy photos and not this one and figure out the rest, editors. Like I was like, what a life.
When you think about it, he's the only man in history. Think about that for a second. He's the only man in history that has been with the most beautiful women on earth.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
it's like not just a few, not just 10, 20. It's like a lot.
Yeah.
Throughout history. He made a business and a life out of it.
Yeah.
Which some people would call it fascinating. Some people would call him, like Candace called him a pervert. And a pig.
She loves it.
She really went after him. She liked his word pervert big time.
Pervert's a good word, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, no matter
it's a very strong word.
No matter how you look at it, he made a business out of it.
He did.
Beautiful women.
He did make a business out of it.
I definitely have to ask this question, and that is, how much of the Playboy magazine was airbrushed? Because everybody goes, it was so fucking airbrushed. Right? I mean,
I feel like it was airbrushed, but the lighting was also very good. Mm-hmm. They had so much budget that they would recreate like entire settings inside of studios that with just the perfect lighting. Just the sets were phenomenal. So impressive. Yeah, like one girl, it was like she was on the beach in Miami, like during sunset. Like they had a tray of water and everything, and just you could be anywhere, snow or wherever, and they were so believable. The sets and lit so well.
Yeah.
So I think it was a combination of having lots of money for best sets, best lighting, and retouching on top. I'm sure.
Little retouching.
Oh my God. Yeah, I had implants and one of them was like trying to come out of my body because my body was rejecting it. So I'm like, oh, can you tweak that one like back to straight? They did.
Well, the reason I know this too is because the gladiator that actually did Playboy She had a breast reduction, and I know what the scars look like on that. And I saw those. Funny enough, there was not one scar on her boob, but they were perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a little retouching.
Yeah, all scars are gone.
I mean, obviously, the girls coming in, their bodies are pretty much flawless anyway. So the lighting and everything else just enhances it.
Yeah,
you know,
it was hard. A lot of those people, especially when you're like genetically just not gifted in certain ways, and you're trying to like work out as much as you can, or get the surgeries, or. But yeah, there some girls would come in and just naturally, I don't know, gravity defying, like perfect people. So
yeah, it's so rare, you know.
I know, and then Hef would give some people new names even.
Really?
Yeah.
He'd rename them.
Yeah. Yeah. And he liked
we
names.
don't like Susan, so we're gonna change it to.
But then if someone had a name that was really good naturally, she had also better chances of getting in. Like there was a Candy Loving, there was a Rainy Day.
No.
Yeah, Rainy Day Jordan.
No.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's like a stripper name.
I know. It was like the fantasy along with the name and everything. Like it was a whole thing for him. I think he was also into like the twins thing.
Huh.
There was
I
twins.
always found that kind of creepy.
Yeah.
With men.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to be with the same two.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is. Oh my God, there was like
I can't even like.
Yeah, it's
mentally
like
go there.
Going through that. I know. Okay. Like you just said, okay, do you ever have like all of a sudden thoughts in your head and you go, whoa, stop, don't go there. Don't go to the dark place. Don't go to the dark place. Does that ever happen?
Yes.
A lot.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get mine are a little less traumatic just by being kicked off, let's say, the human cannibal. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh. I want to ask you all about that.
No, but it was interesting because I had actually been to the mansion twice, and one was for movie night, believe it or not.
You did.
I went to movie night, and I went there with a producer that I met. Okay, so for me, after Gladiators, I wanted to get into acting, and I wanted, to do more in the industry because I got a taste of the lifestyle. Okay,
Yeah.
because I grew up poor.
Yeah.
And I mean that because my mom made our clothes. She sewed our clothes. My dad worked an 9 to 5 job. And we didn't have any money. So therefore, when I got a taste of the gladiator lifestyle, the limos picking me up, flying first class, 5-star hotels, I was like, oh, fucking love this.
Yeah, right.
Kind of thing. And then when Gladiators ended, it all went away. Yeah. So then I started getting, I wanted to get in the industry. So I was meeting producers and going out with directors. And besides them trying to, feel me up in their front seat the whole time, it was just like, Jesus, come on. It was seriously, I went through that whole thing. It's like, I'm gay. They were like, I don't give a shit.
They don't give a shit.
I can turn
Even
you.
better. Yeah. I don't know.
So I went with a producer to movie night, and it was really interesting. That was my word for it. Interesting.
Do you remember what day of the week it was?
I don't.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Was it like a really old movie?
Yes.
Oh.
It was a very, very old movie.
Like a Casablanca night.
Probably.
Yeah.
It was a Casablanca. And then there was food everywhere, and everybody tried to look important. That's what I always laughed about. And I was like, it's like, come on. The producer who took me, thought he was probably going to get lucky at the end of the night. Well, that shit didn't happen.
Oh my gosh. Let's call him out.
Yeah, exactly. But then the second time I went was at a party and all the girls were painted.
Oh.
That was fun and that was amazing.
Yeah.
Because I was looking around and I didn't even know they were painted at first. And all of a sudden it kind of like dawned on you. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. I remember Mark Frazier was like in charge of the painted ladies most of the time. They looked good. Like the outfits were very creative.
Very creative. Very
so
creative.
good.
I mean, just everything that, you went through with living in the mansion and everything. And then the girls next door came along.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was weird.
And I remember on your Instagram, you're like, I fucking hated that show.
Like that show sucked. But yeah, we were kind of just thrown on it. Like,
so you didn't have a choice, did you?
Not really. It's like, we're just going to replace the old girls with the new girls. And I think, the girls had left on their own accord. I think Holly went to go date Chris Angel. Bridget had met someone at the mansion. Kendra was, I don't know, almost married already to Hank. So they replaced them with us. And yeah, it was hard because I wasn't really into that kind of stuff that
You seemed a little shy at first.
Oh, so I'm still like kind of shy, but yeah, I was definitely shy on that show. It was all these things that I wasn't that into, you know, like all the decorating and.
Yeah, neither am I.
Well,
I hate decorating. Here's the funny thing. I love Christmas. I hate decorating for it.
Yeah.
Hate it. I don't know why. Just hate decorating.
Do you have anything up yet?
No.
Oh, I did.
You have your tree up. I know. I saw that. Now I'm on Instagram with you. I'm like, that bitch has her tree up already? Jesus.
I know. Maybe to just enjoy it longer, but.
I do. I love the holidays.
But yeah, the old girls next door, they would decorate and spend days just coordinating outfits or having their outfits made and designing them. And it's just, I just don't have the patience for that kind of stuff.
I don't either.
Like, no.
And it's interesting to me that you said that basically Hef got like $400,000 per episode and you guys didn't get a dime.
Yeah.
How did you even feel, justify? I mean, could you say anything at that point about it? Or was it just like, hey, here's the deal?
I think you're just so excited to be there. And when I watched your documentary, I related to there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like all these people are just wanting to take all the money. But you're like, hey, like we're the ones that the cameras are filming.
My God.
It's weird. So I knew Hef and the producer made $400,000 an episode and we didn't get anything.
That's crazy.
When the DVD came out of Girls Next Door season 6, I went to New York. They gave me like $5,000 to go promote it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, cool! Finally, some money.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I promoted it on was Howard Stern, in New York, and that was like a massive shit show.
Did he rip you apart?
Yes.
Okay, so
I was trying to find it because I'm like, I gotta like bring this back up.
Yeah.
It's gone. Like
Howard Stern invited me to be on his show when I first got on Gladiators. I declined.
You did.
I
so
did
you
decline
knew,
because I knew he would just rip me apart. And at that point in time, first of all, there's certain words that I can't stand. My first word that I can't stand is the word dyke. Can't stand it. And I knew he was going to call me that. I knew he was going to say it because he knew I was gay and he was going to use the word, so you're a dyke. And I was like, ugh.
Oh my
I
God.
just didn't want him to rip me apart in that area.
Oh yeah, he went straight. Like I'm an easy target, so he like went straight for the,
for the jugular.
Did you, what were the orgies like? How were the orgies? Did you hook up with mostly men or women, or how does Hef get jealous? Like all this like crazy stuff where I'm just like, I wasn't ready to talk about anything like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just had to kept protecting Hef, I guess, at that point. I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, you're in it, so you kind of have to at that point.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and I relate to that, and I get that. And a lot of people don't understand that. You can't come out and rip somebody apart when you're in it, when you're in the middle of it.
No,
there's no way.
No, and that's when you have some distance and, you can watch Candace Owens and the word pervert and you're like,
Yeah.
You're like, okay, whatever.
Well, and then she said something like this. She goes, oh, they all come out after he passed away. It's like, well, you couldn't do it when he was alive. It's kind of like you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, when he was alive, I was so sucked in. Like all my mental capacity was just trying to help him because he was older and just, you're in this bubble, like literally.
Yeah, I get
in
that.
House.
I get that.
It was weird.
All right, so we are going to take a quick little break right now to hear from one of our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk to where Crystal's at today, where she's going, and stay right here. We'll be right back. For those of you that want to rock my gear, check out my store at icet-shirts.com. Find the gladiator in you with these iconic styles. Get your Chillin' with Ice gear along with many other cool styles such as the OG Gladiator. We have that in t-shirts, hats, and hoodies. Plus my all-time favorite, the beautiful badass t-shirt. I've got a hat to match that one and so much more. Score your Ice merch today, icet-shirts.com, where legends live on. So we were talking about all kinds of fun things. But
So many things.
so many things. Oh my God. I could literally spend like 2 to 3 hours with you right now. But it's okay. So I relate to you on so many different levels on like what we were just saying, which I completely, my brain just went, where were we, Crystal?
We were talking about, we were talking about how like when you're in it, it's hard to kind of reflect or like talk about it. And I'm sure with you too, with your show, like it takes being away from it to reflect back on, you know.
Oh, it is. It's so hard because, and then with my situation, basically, it didn't matter. And same with your situation. It didn't matter. If I kicked and screamed and wanted to do something, it didn't matter. Nothing was going to change. It was what it was at the time.
Did you feel replaceable?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, me too.
It didn't matter. It's like, and they actually held that over our head. Oh, you don't want to sign this? Oh, we can just replace you. Literally. And so you put all your time and effort and hard work and, you know, your heart and soul into something, and yet you don't feel valued. You don't feel respected. You don't feel like a human that has anything to say. They're like, oh, we can just replace you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a sucky feeling.
Yeah. It's hard to feel that you don't have value.
Yeah.
And especially coming from, you know, somewhere where I had to just feel like I had to fit in to survive. You know, it's hard. And especially being valued for your physical. And I think you too, like with that, like you're valued on what you look like.
Yeah.
And with you, and then keeping your body a certain way. I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like for you.
But it's the same.
Yeah,
You had to keep your body a certain way. You had to keep it a certain level.
Stuff the implants in.
Yeah. I mean, and then you even talk about that, and you had some issues with your implants. You had to take them out.
Yeah.
And then you tried the fat replacement, and then you almost died on the table, which we're going to talk about because I got to replace mine. Yes.
I know so many people that, because I talked about my story publicly, so a lot of people responded, and so I've been kind of doing a little bit of
therapy,
and like personal research. Like certain brands of implants are better than others. I've noticed.
Oh,
don't
interesting.
make people sick.
Okay,
so I don't know.
That's good to know. Yeah.
So there's Allergan and there's Mentor.
Okay.
And Mentor people seem to be doing better than Allergan people.
Interesting. What happened with the fat replacement thing? I mean, because there's so many things that, you know, you said you almost bled out basically. I mean, I guess that's a whole nother conversation, but yet at the same time, I mean, it's a little scary.
Yeah. I remember when I had the implants taken out, and, yeah, I was comfortable with it. I was happy. But then after 2 years, I thought, okay, I'm going to get a fat transfer. And the fat transfer is where they take fat from all around your body and like put it into your breasts.
You don't have any fat on your body.
I think I was like 100. Now I'm like, I don't know, 134 or something. But I was like 118 pounds when I did the fat transfer. And I went to this doctor that's known for it in Florida. I'm not going to mention his name, but I went there, and yeah, he took fat from literally everywhere that he could.
Right.
Like it was like from my legs, even my arms, stomach, back here. I don't have like any muffin top thing anymore. Right. It's like all sucked out.
Yeah.
Even from like the mound crotch part.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was really
I saw like
trying.
a little hole there. I'm like, wait, I don't even have any much fat there. How did that happen?
Damn.
But from everywhere, and then just put it in there, and it worked.
Okay.
You know, I'm 34C, so it worked.
And it stayed.
It stayed.
See, that was always my question, is when you do a fat transfer, I mean, wouldn't your fat metabolize, and let's say you lost weight, you're going to lose the fat weight.
Yeah, it kind of has been.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I had an ultrasound, and she said, oh, the fat looks healthy. And,
that's good.
But when I went home from the procedure, he had left. So to get the fat easier, they fill your body with fluid.
Okay.
So you kind of like begin puffy on the operating table, which I don't know how much fluid, can you drown your organs? I don't know.
Right.
And so all the places he went in for the lipo, he kept the holes open so that the fluid can drain out.
Okay.
So I was like kind of spilling.
That's weird.
I know, it's a little weird. And then I just ended up losing too much blood.
Okay.
Like losing, you know, maybe my iron levels were low before I went in there. I should have
Right.
Or he should have checked.
He should have checked. Yeah, he should have checked, not you.
But I ended up going to the ER, and my hemoglobin dropped to like, I think below 7. And
Wow.
they said, we can't let you leave without a blood transfusion.
Whoa.
So I ended up getting the blood transfusion, slowly got better.
That's crazy.
But, yeah.
Okay, so we'll off later on we'll talk about that. Now, you're also saying that you're talking to people so you can help people, and that's what you read. You wrote your book, so that if you can help people when they respond to you. I guess the biggest question is what are people actually writing in to you, and like what is your message out?
Well, when I was at the mansion, I ended up getting really sick with Lyme disease and toxic mold and the breast implant illness. So I started talking about that on social media, and I had a lot of people reach out to me wanting help, which doctor to go to, how to detox, all of these things. So I would start helping people that way. And then I started becoming closer with like different fans through the years, and they would talk to me about their relationships, and they're in a relationship with someone who's, emotionally abusive or financially abusive. So talking about that, or a relationship with a narcissist, I feel like a lot of people are running into those problems lately. Just a matter of fact, Hef was a narcissist. So I think sharing the stories and helping other people, if I can do that, then.
So your psychology is coming into play.
I'm trying. I need to finish school. I need to go back. And
Are you going to?
yeah, I want to.
Okay.
So I think that would be nice.
How many years would it take to get your degree?
Oh my gosh. So I could just finish up a few credits for the bachelor's.
Okay.
And then I, maybe master's and maybe doctorate. I'm not sure.
So I have a saying, it's never too late to be what you should have been.
That's so sweet. That's so good.
It's too late for me, but it's not too late for you.
It's never too late for you either. It's never too late.
I always, I wanted to go to chiropractic college, and I wanted to become a chiropractor. Like, if anything, and I remember this, and it's funny, it's so ridiculously stupid. I was 30, and I went, I'm too old. It's way too late now.
Really?
Yeah, and at that point in time, all chiropractic college, couldn't even say it right. All it required was a 2-year degree, and then a 4-year chiropractic college degree.
Oh, wow.
Now it's 8.
Oh my God.
So I would literally be like, it's way too much school.
That's
now.
a lot. That's
It is.
So you'd have to be like a medical doctor
Yeah,
to be a
almost.
chiropractor?
Yep, almost like
Oh my
that.
goodness.
So I'm just like, not at
No.
all. So what do you do girls come to you like with any kind of body issues? I
gosh.
mean, I'm sure you get a shit ton of
Yeah.
that.
Social media it's hard, and it sucks for that.
Screwed a lot of people up.
It is, yeah. Like mentioning in the book, like leaving the mansion and realizing like that toxic stuff is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone trying to, I don't know. It's like what I looked like as a teenager versus like teenagers now. Like it starts young. People
Yeah.
feeling like they have to change themselves, and I do have people asking me, how they can be more comfortable with themselves, and it's like I'm still learning myself.
I think it's a constant learning, and I was talking to my mom about this, I actually asked my mom's 82, and I go, so Mom, I know Playboy was around when you were younger. I said, so what was your take on it? What was Dad's take on it? What was, how was all that body image? We started talking about models and how skinny they are, and how, girls, everybody's saying, well, the models were too skinny, and it gave the wrong message to females at a young age. I think the pendulum has swung a little too far in the opposite direction now, to be quite honest with you, to where now they've taken out the Victoria's Secret models and they've replaced them with 250-pound models.
Mm.
They've taken out, same thing in Target. You walk through Target and you just see these 200-pound women wearing lingerie, and to me, it went in the opposite wrong direction, because now are you promoting, yes, be comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. Love yourself for who you are, be comfortable with who you are. But at the same time, are we promoting obesity? Are we
Yeah.
promoting? I mean, I'm sorry, but when they're that heavy, there's the number one killer in the US is heart failure, and diabetes. And I mean, you name it, it just goes along the
Yeah.
list. So to me, I don't look at the models and I don't look at people to where it's like, if they're saying that they're promoting the wrong image, it's like, no. And I think what's happening is in America, let's teach people how to eat. Let's teach people how to exercise. Let's teach people how to be healthy.
Healthy, yeah, and
Look
strong.
healthy. Look healthy and strong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, I want to be strong.
Yes, but it's
Yeah.
like they don't do that. They just go from one opposite to the other opposite.
I can understand that. Yeah. I definitely have heard the stories of the Victoria's Secret models, like just eating cotton balls and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't heard those stories.
They're like so hungry but they
That's
like,
insane.
Yeah, they just like wet a cotton ball and like eat those. It's so.
And I know
And
that,
then now it's like,
yeah.
I understand. I definitely understand. I think that our society is still figuring it out.
They will figure it out until we're all gone.
I
They'll
know.
still be figuring it out.
Until we're all replaced by robots.
I think what it is whatever the money making issue is at the time, whatever is making money at the time is where they jump on board.
Yeah, whatever's politically correct.
Politically
at the
correct.
time.
Absolutely. We all know the health and beauty and fitness industry is a gazillion dollar business.
Yeah.
So whatever the new fad diet is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
I'm falling for it. I got into some new like face creams and
That's different. We all do that.
some of them are prescription. Like people were asking my skincare thing. I'm like, I don't know if is it legal? I don't know.
Oh no, I have no issue telling people that are like, well, why do you look the way you look? I go, I have a team, Botox, fillers, hair, makeup,
Botox, filler. And then there's like all like tretinoin, hydro.
Oh
I don't
God.
know, all these different like ingredients.
Oh, it's
I started like
unbelievable.
rubbing those on. I don't know
Yeah.
if it helps, but
Anything does. I honestly, when I was 30, my mom was like, moisturize, stay out of the sun. And I was like, why? I was a sun worshiper. I was like, this.
oh my gosh, I understand. Yeah, I only started getting into the skincare stuff, and I remember Hef's secretary Mary. She was like, I don't know, in her 80s.
Yeah, she was old.
Yeah, she didn't have one wrinkle.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, you don't have any wrinkles. She said, oh, I rub shark oil all over my face every day.
Shark oil.
Shark oil. And she even got me a bottle. It was like this old school looking thing. And I didn't think anything of it. But now I'm like, wait, what was that? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
But the main ingredient is called like squalene or squalene.
Interesting.
So I got some of that. It's like from the sea. And I've been
Doing a little.
seeing if that helps.
Oh my God.
Especially when you get back into dating. You're like, what do I need to look.
How is that now? I mean, how do you go from that lifestyle to back to civilian life? Was it a big, huge transition for you?
I think civilian life in the way of like, now it's my own house and stuff. I felt like, oh, now I at least have some privacy. And I just felt like, okay, this is like my own kitchen. It felt nice in that way. But the dating stuff, I have no idea. It's a mess.
Oh God.
How do people meet people? Like,
I don't know.
you can't meet people in the wild. It's all on a dating app, right?
It's so bizarre. I don't
Nobody
know.
meets
I
in
would
the wild
literally hate to be single now.
Yeah.
I mean, even teenagers. I mean,
I don't know. I think everyone meets on apps now.
yeah, but then you got to weed them out and they're weird and they're creepy and you don't know who's who. And
Yeah, I met some bad ones.
you've met some, I can only imagine.
I've learned all about lots of different personality disorders, I guess.
Oh
like,
yeah.
no offense to a lot of those, but
Right.
for me, after what I've been through, like it's hard for me to deal with.
I bet you're just like, red flag, red
Yeah.
flag.
But then now I meet a normal person. I'm like, oh, you're so boring.
Oh, nice. Nice. They got to have some fucked up weird quirk. And you're like,
Jeremy,
oh, okay.
Jeremy met one the other day, and he's like, oh, it's way too nice. He's way too nice. Way too normal.
It's
I don't
gonna
know.
bore you.
Like, a little bit of, I don't know. There's like a little bit of spice, right?
Oh my God. Okay, so I have to ask a question that my girlfriend wanted to ask.
Okay.
Ready for this one?
Yeah.
What made Hef marry you and not Holly?
Interesting. That's a great question.
Because Holly wanted to get married.
She did. And I think she wanted it kind of too much or too bad.
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he was also still married a lot of the relationship with Holly to his ex-wife, Kimberly, the Marson and Cooper's mom. Kimberly, she's just, I don't know. I met her once and there was like not much behind her eyes. I was like, anyway. But she had the next door house, and I remember Hef sold it for $10 million and gave her $5 million, and then kept $5 million.
Okay.
And then she sued him for $5 million.
She sued? Somebody sued?
She
Oh
knew
my
he
God,
had
that's
it.
hysterical.
So when they broke up, Kimberly said she wanted to stay married for the children.
Okay.
So they were married like way extra longer, way more years than they should have been.
Okay.
And I think it's because of like some kind of monetary thing,
Right.
to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, she's smart. She knows what she was doing.
Right.
She knew what she was doing. So he was still married to Holly. I mean, married to Kimberly while he was with Holly for some of those years.
Okay.
So I think he couldn't really
Marry her.
and maybe she knew that and she pushed it and she wanted kids. And I think they tried for kids. When I was there, I think I was not pushing for it.
You just didn't care.
No, I was there and it was fun and there were cool opportunities that I knew I wouldn't have if I wasn't there, you know. And yeah, I wasn't really pushing for it. And I think because of that it happened. Because I remember one day Mary just asked me in the office, she said, what kind of ring do you like?
You're like, what?
I was like, huh?
Right, what?
And I think I was 24. And I said, I don't know, like square.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just telling her an answer. And she goes, oh, no, round. Like round's better because then it sparkles.
Then why'd
more.
she even ask you?
I know. So,
Right.
And then Hef at Christmas just handed me a music box and I opened it up and there was a ring in there. He didn't say, will you marry me or anything. He just said he hoped it fits.
And I remember in your book, you're like, and I never said yes.
Yeah. I'm like, there was never a proposal. And I picked a pink dress because I'm like, I don't know. It just felt like some made up bullshit. I'm like that.
Right.
I'm like, oh, maybe he wants this to be like a PR story, like the end
Yeah.
of his life. And because it didn't really feel like the in love type of marriage thing. And I picked a pink dress on purpose.
Did you actually, I mean,
That's
there
so
there had to be a point though that you maybe kind of felt like he was in love with you? Or no?
I felt like there was love. I felt like the best way he knew how.
Okay.
You know, most of the conversations were just about himself. And yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but the best way he knew how, I think.
Yeah.
He loved me.
That's good.
He did say things like when our dog had died and he said, you know, Charlie and I will be waiting for you on the other side and things like that were really sweet. Or, you know, I wish I would have met you earlier so that I have more time with you. And, you know, he did say really sweet romantic things and would cry during, you know, romantic parts in movies. But I think he loved me the best way he knew how. And I loved him in a way of like kind of respect or
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I knew these things about him, like the negative things. And it wasn't until Me Too that I'm like, felt a bit justified in
You're like, oh.
my feelings.
You're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Like he died in September and Me Too happened, I think, October 2017. So he was like right in time. It's like,
What if that would have come out before?
the Me Too stuff?
Yeah.
It started to. I think it started to with Bill Cosby.
Yeah. I remember that. He was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And then
Like he would drug his girls.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
They try to bring it back to like the mansion and like he was at the mansion and all this stuff.
Really?
And Hef like pleaded the fifth. But Cosby definitely was there.
Yeah.
But Hef was having his own fun in probably a different wing when that was going down. And I know Cosby's not going to do that to people in front of Hef.
Right.
Know?
Yeah.
It's so weird. Is
it weird for you to think and talk about it now? I mean, your girl, when that book comes out, you're going on a whole spread. You're going to have people coming after you going, choo, 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 choo.
I know. I don't know. I'm
But you
trying not to offend anybody.
I was going to say, you get to pick and choose what you want to talk about and choose.
Yeah. I'm just trying not to offend anybody because the way I talk about it now is just so like nonchalant. I'm like, oh yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Narcissist, misogynistic. Like, I'm sorry, it's the truth. Even the other people on the board of his foundation say the same thing.
Right.
Like, in some ways, he was absolutely like epic, and other ways it was not so much.
Just not, yeah.
Yeah.
But now going forward, you're making a pretty cool life for yourself. You have a house in Hawaii, which is my fucking love Hawaii. I love it.
Really?
Oh my, are you kidding? This is, my whole tattoo is nothing but Polynesian. This is from all the islands. I mean,
my gosh.
that's where I want to retire. You know, that's my end game goal is just to have a house in Maui, just kick it, just love
so
life.
nice.
I
Yeah.
love it there.
It's gorgeous. I really like Maui. I'm on the Big Island, so
Big Island's gorgeous too. Oh my God. I was there. I've been there twice.
Okay.
To the Big Island. It was pretty amazing. What side are you on? The volcanic side or
like the rainforest kind of side? It's like the east side of the island.
Like Kona, I think, or
No,
something like that?
the
Okay.
other side, like the Hilo side.
How do you have a self-sufficient house over there?
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, so I have a catchment tank because I think Hilo's the rainiest city in
Yes,
America.
it is.
So the water comes from the rain, and I have a solar system, and I have a little tiny house village.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 tiny houses. So at any time I can just wheel them away. I just didn't want to disrupt the land. It's so beautiful. So
It is.
yeah, for now I'm just have the little tiny house village.
Super cool. So you got your real estate license. You learned how to trade crypto, I guess?
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
for you, because I know
into-
nothing about
Really?
crypto. That scares the shit out
Oh my
of
gosh,
me.
I feel like you would kill it in that world.
I-
You would like.
You can teach me because I have no fucking clue on what to
Oh
do
my
with
gosh,
that.
you would be like the Web3 queen for sure. You need like an NFT collection.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You-
I
yeah.
mean, and
It's so good.
I love the finance part of life, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I love money. I love everything there is, like trading. I learned how to trade options during
Okay.
COVID.
Well, you'd be great at NFTs.
I did great. I lost my ass. I
Oh,
did great. I
no.
lost my ass.
Oh,
You know, it's one of
no.
those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the NFT market like crashed down, but it's coming back up, and like Bitcoin and
Yeah, but isn't that the time to buy when it crashes?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like the
but-
stock market
Yeah. Mine crashed down with it, so I'm just waiting for it
to come back up again.
to come back. Yeah. Yeah.
And
so-
what else are you doing?
I think
Besides
between
everything?
real estate and the book tour soon, and yeah, I'm starting a podcast, so it's been fun, and
Tell me why you want to start a podcast.
I think I want to start one. I know it's like I want to start one to try and help people. Like if I can help somebody, then I think it'll be good, and other people that have been in kind of hard situations, or help people see themselves, love themselves, and find their value. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Know their worth.
Yes. Yeah. It's important. It's really important.
It's interesting. I was in a situation when I was younger, and I was in my 20s. Very successful, rich dude asked me to have his child,
Interesting.
and he would take care of me for the rest of my life.
Interesting.
I think I waited about 3 seconds before I said no.
Yeah.
First of all, I never wanted kids. I just knew. I know me.
Yeah.
You know, I never wanted kids. I never had that instinctual motherly instinct unless it was towards all my animals.
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I still don't have that, but maybe eventually it'll come in.
Girl,
maybe
if you don't have it now, you're done.
maybe that's why Hef liked me too. He's like, oh, she's not gonna want to like
Have kids, exactly. The only reason
wow.
and this sounds really terrible, the only reason I ever wanted to have a kid is to see what it looked like.
Oh yeah, that's cute though. That's cute.
I thought I wanted like a little blonde-haired, little blue-eyed baby boy so that I could put him in surfer shorts
so
and dress him, and but then after that, it's like, go away.
I know. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'll. warm
I
up to
don't know.
Chillin, but
I just never had that.
That's crazy that someone offered that. You're so young.
I was young. I was very
It's
young.
life change. It's like kind of a life changing thing. Like, oh, now I have a child. Is that worth like
Yeah, no,
what
it's
kind
not.
of money? Yeah.
Yeah, no. I always wanted to make my own decisions. I always like, that was the big thing for me, It was like, I want to date who I want to date. I was on the verge of, am I gay? Am I bisexual? What am I? Kind of thing in my 20s. And I was still exploring. And I was just kind of like, I can't have somebody make these decisions for me, kind of thing. And I knew that early on.
Yeah.
I wanted to make my own money so I could make my own decisions and date
Good
who
for
I wanted to date
you.
and sleep with who I wanted to sleep with. And, and that was that,
Good for you.
Yeah. No idea where I got that from.
Oh my gosh, I needed some of that when I was early 20s because I just molded into whatever Hef wanted me to be.
Yeah, but
And
that's
now
all
I'm
you
like,
knew.
who am I? Like, I'm trying to unplug some wires and plug them back in where they're supposed to be.
But now you're in a position now to where it's like, okay, so, but you know what? You are today who you are today because of that experience.
So true.
And that experience is going to help a lot of people. And that experience didn't kill you.
Yeah.
Could have possibly, who knows? I mean, but it didn't. I mean, maybe in your mind you're like, well, I don't know about that, but it didn't. And now you're on the other side of it, and now you're growing, you're getting stronger, you're getting more. You're obviously super independent. You can be who you want to be now, and so with all of that, now you get to actually help other people.
Yeah.
So maybe it was for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that sounds wonderful. And
You're like, that sounded great.
I mean, that's so nice. And yeah, I mean, I agree, and definitely happy to tell my story. And I'm not a victim, Candace Owens.
No, absolutely not whatsoever.
But some people are, and it's devastating, and it sucks, and life is very hard, and I happen to be in some really unique situation, and it was very public, so I think the world deserves to know about it. So
Absolutely.
I owe it to everybody.
I'm glad you wrote it.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of other people are going to be extremely glad that you wrote it and that you're doing your podcast. Now,
Thank
tell me,
you.
besides helping people and stuff, I mean, your podcast. Let's talk about your podcast. Let's talk about your podcast for a second. You're going to actually launch at the beginning of the year, though, correct?
Yeah.
With your book?
Yeah, I'm going to have some episodes come out. Hopefully you can come on.
Do you know the name of it yet?
It's called Beneath the Surface.
Perfect.
So I'm going to have some episodes come out leading up to the book launch. And then once the book launch happens, I'm going to go chapter by chapter and bring in different experts for each chapter.
Cool.
So we're going to go through it. And there's I have a grief counselor that's going to come on, and different therapists, and some people that, are talked about in the book. So
how does it feel reliving it, though? I mean, going through all this, because you're going to go through it again.
Yeah, it's been okay.
Are you ready for that?
It's been okay. Yeah, I when I started reading the pages, I had a collaborative writer help me. Like, I wanted to tell the story and craft it in the best way possible. So I have a, 4 times New York bestseller helping me and be on my team. And I told you a little bit about her.
Yeah.
And so when I very first read what we had written and just went through it, I just started crying, because I'm like, finally, I feel like I have a voice. I always had to be this quiet one behind Hef, and that was when I realized, I'm like, wow, this is happening. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and reliving it is fine. And now I can just laugh with, all my friends that we all hooked up together in the bedroom,
right.
Amber and
Right.
everyone's name has been changed, but
right.
I'm like, whatever. It was fun and had its fun moments and whatever. It's fine.
All right, so I'm going to ask one last question, and it gets to be a girl-on-girl sexual question.
Okay.
What if the girls weren't into girls? What happens then?
What if they weren't into each other?
Yeah. Did they just? I mean, you can't fake that.
I think they kind of tried to fake it, maybe. But honestly, I was more attracted to the women than I was to Hef. So for me, it was fine.
You're like, woo-hoo!
For me, it's like, I'm so glad you're all here.
Yeah, the gang's all here.
So that was fine. Yeah, it was fine. It almost was people to help, or people to.
Yeah, exactly.
It made things way more. I know when Holly was there, she was hoping all the girls would be gone and it would just be her.
Right.
And when things quietened down for me, I was like, oh shit, like, I don't
Yeah.
want to do this by myself.
I read
Like,
that in your book. Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah. No, I got that too, because when I was reading your book, and I thought, and then when I read about, kind of like the first experience that you went through in the bedroom, I was like, I don't know if I could have looked at him differently the next day. Do you know what I mean? It's
Look at
kinda
who differently? Like
Hef. I mean, it would have been so awkward. Like,
Really?
ooh, I don't know about that. I just saw what went on in there, and I'm looking at you a little differently now. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you become kind of, I know this is like kind of weird to say, but like numb to it all.
I was just gonna say numb. Yeah, you
it
have
just
to.
becomes like this weird rotation where you become kind of numb to it all.
Right.
It's kind of weird. So I'm trying to like, who am I without
Process
that
that
stuff?
part,
But
yeah.
you become numb to the sex stuff. You become numb to like seeing all these women all around. You're just
That's funny. I like that. Thank God you're here.
I'm like, can we give her some money or something?
Okay, well, I'm going to go on that for a second, because the gentleman who actually was in love with me and wanted me to have his kid, I was like, can't we bring in some women? And he's like, no. And I was like,
Oh,
fuck.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's usually the
I
opposite
wished.
way. Like if, the men want...
seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding? You're the only odd one in the whole LA area that you don't want to see girl on girl?
You're like, I almost said yes.
Right, exactly. Things might have been a little different if you would have let me bring in girls.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, everyone has their thing. So
Yeah. That's kind of funny. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at that, but it is kind of funny.
I know sometimes like I laugh at it now because to me it's just whatever. I've already gotten past it and I can laugh at it.
Yeah.
But
you
then
have
people
to.
who maybe were in that situation too and felt like a little trauma, I'm like, oh, so sorry. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I remember I went on Kendra's show. She was one of the girls next door, and she talked about like lying in the same bed, or it was like some kind of, I don't know what she was, metaphor or something. And I'm like, oh, literally, we were in the same bed.
Yeah.
And then she just like, like she's like, I can't talk about any of that stuff. And I'm like,
Really?
oh, sorry.
She seems like a little cray-cray.
But I'm like, as soon as you talk about it, you'll be free. Like it'll be, it's fine.
Did she not want to talk about it, or she couldn't talk about it?
I guess she said when it gets to like, when she's in therapy and it gets to any of that stuff like that, she just can't talk about it.
Was that just, it fucked her up that bad?
I guess so. But to me, I'm like, that's the stuff you need to talk about.
Yeah. If it fucks you up that bad, you need to talk about
You
it.
need to talk about it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're trapped in your own head.
Yeah. Like the sex stuff, I'm fine. Like it's the body image stuff that I still like wrestle with, like all that stuff.
What do you mean body image stuff?
Like scars and youth and all that stuff. Aging is hard. I don't know. Like
Aging is hard for you?
Yeah. Do you
You
feel
think?
that way? I mean, you like,
Seriously?
You like,
How old are you?
Almost 40.
Dude. You got a while. Enjoy this shit right now. You don't even know how old I am, do you?
40s?
Oh, I love her.
40?
I love her.
No,
I love
feel like
her.
We looked up. You don't have to say. It's like,
Oh, I don't care.
I feel like, did we look? Well, I feel like I like tried to look you up or something. I don't know.
Do you know how old I am? Oh my God, I fucking love you guys. I'm 60.
60? Like
Yes.
60?
60. I like that. Like 60.
How?
Yeah.
Okay, can we get your skincare routine?
It's not okay. So here's the thing: it's not about a skincare routine. It's about a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I exercise. I eat good. I still have my team of people. I have no problem telling people I get Botox. I get some fillers. I get my lips done once in a while. What else? Oh. I was talking the other day. I got my little eyelids done. You know how sometimes your eyelids get real heavy as you get older?
Oh, mine's getting that.
Oh, you're so far from it. God. But usually when you get into your 50s, they start getting heavy. So I got the eyelids done, and that kind of opens up your eyes again. Just little
That's
things.
cool,
It's
though.
like little maintenance things along the way. And I started when I was 40.
Okay.
And drink water. I can't say my skincare regimen is anything really because I use probably cheap shit, you know?
I do think there's something with like from within.
Absolutely. I refuse to get old. I don't want to get old. And I notice you're a huge Disney freak, you know, and it's like, and I don't mean that freak wise. I just mean you're
that's fine.
a Disney, enthusiast. There we go.
I'm like, yeah. I mean, I wish I looked like a Disney princess.
But it's one of my favorite movies is Hook, just because
cool.
I have that Peter Pan syndrome. I never wanted to
That's
grow up.
cool.
And I'm an Aries, and so it's kind of like I'm the baby astrological sign.
Yeah.
And I think that's just who I am.
Yeah,
and so
I love that. And I think that like childlike wonder, like being able to retain that, like I think keeps people young.
Yeah. And as long as you have that, you'll stay young. So when you say I don't want to get old. And my friends are like, embrace it. Screw that shit. I'm not going to embrace it.
Your mom's probably like so beautiful too.
My mom's 82 and she's beautiful and she's so cute because she's like, if I had the money, and she always does this, I'd get a facelift, and she starts pulling her shit back, you know? It's super cute.
Yeah, my mom doesn't have the money but still does all of that stuff. I'm like, oh, she has all these credit cards I have no idea about that are all maxed out. I'm like,
right.
Like, Mom, you're getting to the age, she's in her 70s, where it's like the risk and the reward is like.
Yeah. So in other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is you're 38, almost 40, and girl, you got such a long way to go. Enjoy every second of it.
Thank you.
Because enjoy the way you look now. Enjoy the way you look at your body now. Because I look back when I was bodybuilding and competing, I had a flawless body. I did not appreciate it back then. I was always like, yeah, but if I could just get rid of this right here, and if I could just do this, and I was never, ever happy with the way I looked.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a good thing. It's a bad thing because when it's a meaning that I'm always striving to be better or striving, but at the same time, I realized you're never going to look as good as you look right now.
That's so true. It's so true.
Just enjoy it.
I look back at pictures in like mid-20s and picking myself apart, thinking that I looked ugly or thinking,
So you can't do that. You got to enjoy the way you look right now.
Yeah.
Because you do get older. Your body, it's just the way we are. You're constantly dying.
Oh my gosh.
I say that laughingly only because of the fact that like our HGH, the mother hormone of us, that keeps us young and youthful in our skin, the elasticity and all that, it goes up to a peak at 30. Believe it or not, you hit 30 and then it just slowly is on a decline.
Really?
There are ways to slow that down. Okay, so when you do hit around 45-ish, 46-ish, definitely get your hormones checked because I've been on hormone therapy since I was 45-ish, I think, maybe 50-ish. Hormones will keep your skin young, everything looking young. It's a huge, beautiful thing. And a lot of people are afraid of it, but they shouldn't be afraid of it because as long as you're in balance, you're great.
Yeah.
So that I contribute a lot to that as well. You know, the inside of our hormones.
Yeah,
so
that sounds important. And it sounds like,
that's later though. So you don't even have to worry about that. It's just enjoy every
Some people
second of it, how you look right now.
Thank you.
Because you look beautiful and there's no way that anybody, I mean, it's like, you should not even be concerned about aging. Girl!
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much for being on my podcast today. I so appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I loved it.
Awesome.
And stick around because I have maybe a 2-minute rapid fire question with you, which is a lot of fun. It goes on my Patreon. Crystal, tell us where everybody can find you on social media.
I
mean, you only have 3 million followers for fuck's sake. But where can they find you and order your book and your podcast and stuff?
Crystal Hefner on every platform, and onlysaygoodthings.com is where everyone can pre-order.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Love that. So thank you again for being on my podcast. I so appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I loved it.
It's fun.
Thank you for listening to Chillin' with Ice, and this is where legends live on. Until next time, peace out. Thank you so much for listening to Chillin' with Ice. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share wherever you listen to your podcast. Remember to follow us on Patreon and YouTube at Chillin' with Ice. And on Instagram and TikTok, you can follow me at lori.ice.fetrick. I look forward to chilling with you next time here on Chillin' with Ice.